I want to talk to you today about August storms. So, when I got into this business, I didn't know a whole lot about our storm systems and how the weather patterns really worked in South Dakota. I was well aware it gets cold in the wintertime, but other than that, not a whole lot going on up top, let's say. The beauty of August is we are getting towards the end of really our storm season. Our storm season in eastern South Dakota, and people that are from South Dakota really know that there are definite lines of distinction in the state. I would say eastern South Dakota, where Sioux Falls is located, we have definitely different weather than what they do on the western side of the state. And even when you get into the Pier area and the center part of the state, that seems to be a dividing line as well. Getting more into that high desert, things like that, gets hotter, less humid, things like that. Starting to get less humid as it goes over to the west side of the state. But for the most part, our concern is the weather on the eastern part of South Dakota. Now, I said earlier that we're getting towards the end of our storm season. We are still in our storm season. Our storm season really runs from May to August, but for the most part, your bigger storms are front-loaded in those earlier months. Really, May getting into the beginning of July is when we're typically going to see our larger storms, but that doesn't mean we're out of the woods quite yet, right? We are still in our storm season, and the beauty of where we live directly in South Dakota is we sit in what's called a bit of a collision zone, okay? It's the difference between those cold Canadian winds coming down, meeting up with that warm air from the Gulf, and those collide sometimes. And that's really, they collide right where we live a lot of times, and that's what gives you your shift. It gives you a shift in temperature ranges. We see that all the time. In a week, the weather might change 50 degrees, changing in temperature because of those differences in pressure. So that simple fact alone is a major factor in how our weather is dictated here in eastern South Dakota. But we also don't have any mountains, and we don't have a whole lot of change of elevation, so the wind patterns can just come right through. There's really nothing to stop them. That's also a major factor. We see it every day because most days it's windy. It's kind of funny. Yesterday we played golf and there wasn't hardly a breath of wind. I think it said it was about 5 to 7 miles an hour. That feels so good when we're used to the wind all the time, especially when you're playing golf because it affects your game so much. But fun to play in both. It challenges your efforts as a golfer, that's for sure. So, but we really live on a continental climate divide right where we're at. So that does change things. But the beauty of August is that we are getting into the end of our season. The weather typically is phenomenal. It gets a little hotter. It is humid here, but it gets so cold in the wintertime that I hope people appreciate the warmth. They can get out and get their vitamin D and enjoy the summertime hot, humid air. I know sometimes it gets sticky and we think it's gross, but just think of February. Just look outside and see the green grass and see how much you love to see the sun shining down and the birds everywhere. And then put your head in February when there's nothing living out there. It's white and gray, and it's just not as much fun as it is today. So I think you should get out and enjoy your August for what it is, because as I said, we are to the end of our storm season. We're certainly not out of the woods yet, but typically, actually, you see less storms in August, but when you see them, they're larger storms. They're more hail related and things like that. Maybe less of the supercells, things like that. They're going to bring tornadoes, things like that. But really, when it comes down to it, I am certainly not a meteorologist. The simple fact is that there's not a whole lot we can do about it. We can enjoy the great days that are here, and when it rains and storms, we can make sure that our property and our loved ones are safe. So that's what I would say in this month of August. It's so nice outside. Get outside your property, especially those places that you don't go in all the time. Maybe a back corner of the house. Walk your entire property at some point in time this month. Make sure and you're paying attention to little details, your soffit and fascia, those underhangs and decking things, framing members that you can see. Anything that's exposed that shouldn't be, because those winter months are coming. We've got a nice window in here till usually around November where we can fix all those exterior things, but now is really the time to do it. So I would say if you're going to do anything in this month of August, spend time outside with your family and friends. Make sure you are taking it all in and seeing, making sure all those things with your property are up to stuff. Let's say that they're proper and they're protecting your home the way that they should be. And if they're not, you have one call. You call crew 965 ASAP. That's 965-2727. One call, we do it all. Crew that cares.